responsibly. Wait, I saw 4 of you look at your wives and go, wait a minute, that was not in the invitation. It didn't say to drink responsibly. If you don't want to drink responsibly, that's okay. But do promise us that you won't get behind the wheel tonight. Pass those keys off to somebody else because we want to see you again. All right. My wife Jeannie and I have been blessed to have 3 daughters, Sarah, Allison, and of course Laura. And I don't know where to begin on Laura. This is her night. She's just been an amazing daughter. If you know her, you know this to be true. You know, she's sweet, she's kind, she's gentle, but she's also strong, and she has amazing empathy for other people. And she brings this into her chosen career, which is being an elementary teacher. And I know a number of you are, yep. If you know her in that aspect as well, too, you know that she's an amazing teacher. And in any district that has her employed is very, very lucky. When a number of years ago, when she decided that she wanted to become a teacher like her dad, I knew right then and there, just knowing her personality, that she just was born to be a teacher. She just has that inside of her, so that's great. Again, with a lot of memories that are going on, I'm going to have to back up a little bit. That when Laura and I were waiting to walk down the aisle, it was a little nerve-wracking, especially for her and so forth. So I was talking to her. You might have seen we were talking on the way down. Don't trip over the bumps in the rug, you know, coming down to the altar. That thing, let's go slow, hang on tight. And then the other thing was, you know, it was like, you know, when you're the bride, and a lot of you have been brides, everybody's, you know, looking at you. Well, I told Laura, hey, don't worry about that this time. You know what? I'm the eye candy this time. So that got her smiling and hopefully took a little bit of that edge away. Yeah. So anyway, not to bore you too long, but a couple of old memories and a couple of new memories about my daughter Laura. The one that really stands out is when she was 2, 3, 4 years old, whatever, and I would come home from work and open the door and I'd hear this, "Daddy!" and she would run across the floor and she'd give me a really hard hug around my knees, because she was a little smaller then. But, and then her other thing that was always kind of jumping out at me is her utter fascination and yet morbid fear of crayfish. When she was little, we would go down to the river and she'd always want to catch crayfish. We'd use a net, we'd put them in a 5-gallon bucket, and she'd say, we got to catch more, put them in the bucket. And I'd say, why don't you pick one up? No, I can't do it. But she just, utter fascination with that, so that was pretty cool. Later on, as she got a little bit older and she watched me, I always go to the Boundary Waters up in northern Minnesota. And when I would buy the food, I would spread it all out on the living room rug and take everything out of their containers and put them in Ziploc bags to, you know, save on weight and space. And Laura came by one time and she said, "Oh, Dad, you see all this food. Can I help you pack for the Boundary Waters?" Well, I knew that she wanted all the treats and things that were lying on the floor, like M&Ms and Jolly Ranchers and smoked string cheese and venison jerky, all of that too. So every year she wanted to help Dad pack for the Boundary Waters. And then when she was 10, she wanted to go up to the Boundary Waters with me. So we did, but I know that she knew then that she owned half of that food. So. But anyway, we just returned from our 16th annual Just Laura, Just Dad trip to the Boundary Waters. And it's a magical time up there with the two of us. You couldn't ask for a better camper, somebody who doesn't complain. The only thing I don't like is that she outfishes me. So she's just a monster when it comes to topwater smallmouth bass. If you've taken a look at my Facebook posts and seen the big smallmouth bass that Laura catches up there, it's pretty cool. So she's really a fun gal to go up there with. And this year, when we were driving up there to the Boundary Waters, it was about a month ago, she had mentioned that, you know, in all the 16 years that we have gone together, we haven't seen a moose. Well, we did see a moose this time, and not just a moose, but 2 mooses, if that's a word. So anyway, I'm an ex-teacher, so I don't have to speak properly anymore. But anyway, so Laura and I are out on the lake. Yeah, I retired 2 years ago. So we were out on the lake, and these 2 moose were swimming across the lake. And they were far enough away where I didn't see them, but Laura did, but she didn't call my attention. And so it was a cow, moose, and a calf that were swimming across the lake. Later on, she told me, she said, "Dad, I just couldn't figure out why those two rocks were moving across the lake." And then she still couldn't figure out that they were moose, and she hadn't drawn my attention to it yet because we're still a little bit far away. And this big cow moose gets out of the lake from swimming across the lake, and its big long body, and it's dripping with water, and the little gangly calf following up the shoreline with it too. And she told me later on, she said, "Dad, I couldn't figure out why those two people were walking out of the lake with a canoe over their head." And then it dawned on her that they were moose, and she said, "Dad, there's moose!" And by then they were running into the brush. But anyway. But, you know, every year Laura would come back and she would tell anybody who would listen that her favorite trip of the year was to the Boundary Waters with her dad. And, you know, that really made me humbled and proud and really wonderful. But, Laura, I got news for you now. You got somebody better to go camping with. And his name is not Dad, it's Tom. So... now, hang on, I'm almost done here. Speaking of Tom, Jeannie and I have come to just really admire and love Tom just a lot more in the last years. We've gotten to know him better and better. He's a great guy. I truly think he's the best match for Laura. They're both very strong, intelligent, wonderful people. An interesting thing, too, is that my other son-in-laws, Joe and Eric, they did something that I wasn't planning on, but I was very humbled by. They both came to me before they proposed to my other daughters, Sarah and Allison, and asked me for permission to marry my other daughters. And I thought, well, geez, you know, maybe Tom will want to do this too. He doesn't have to. It's okay. You know, it's a lot of pressure. So anyway, last fall, we were all up at our house and sitting around the campfire, and the girls decided to go inside. Well, Tom stayed out with me. And we were sitting there for a while, and the sky was black and the stars were bright, and we were just sitting side by side watching the embers die down in the campfire, and I thought, this is it. Tom's going to ask for me for permission to marry Laura. Well, all of a sudden he blurts out, "I think I'm going to ask Laura to marry me." Well, it wasn't quite the asking for permission, but I was okay with it, and I jumped on it, and I said, "Tom, I think that's a great idea. You're an intelligent, handsome young guy with a great future ahead of you, and I'll be proud to call you my son-in-law." Tom, I'm going to say it official. I'm proud to call you my son-in-law. All right, let's all raise our glasses. We're going to toast Laura and Tom to a wonderful, happy, amazing, exciting, beautiful, long-lived relationship. To Laura, to Tom.